Hello, I'm Robert McKay. The channel is Whiskey for Beginners. As you saw, it's a thoroughly amateur production. I would like to, and I don't do this all the time, I don't want to be aggressively pushy like some of these people, but I really would like you to click the like button on the video if you like it, and to subscribe to the channel and to share it, this or any of the other videos, because I want to get basic information about whiskey to people who, like me in 2021, didn't know anything about it and wanted it all in the same place, and I couldn't find it in the same place. Today's topic, and I wound up doing all these videos in the form of questions. So today's topic is, what is malted barley? Well, in the first place, that's the word malted is British English, and it's come over into the States, and I wish it hadn't, because we have a perfectly good variety of English right here in the United States. I call it sprouted barley, and that right there probably gives you an indication of what it is. And the reason, I'll get to what it is in a second, but the reason it is important is Scottish and Irish whiskey has what they call single malt, which is the product of one distillery made out of a mash bill of 100% malted barley. There's also blended malt, where they take various single malts and blend them together. And so knowing what they mean by malted barley can be useful. And as I said, I call it sprouted barley, because what you do is you take barley and you soak it for, I don't even remember offhand, I didn't look it up for this. I believe it's 2 or 3 days, I could be wrong. And then you spread it out and let it sprout. And it believes that you planted it and it's going to grow into a barley plant. And then after it has sprouted sufficiently, the sprouts are about yay long, you dry it. And that, by the way, is where peated scotch comes from. Some distilleries, most notably on Islay, which is an island off the west coast of Scotland, they use the smoke from burning peat to come up through the floor and dry this sprouted barley. That stops the sprouting, kills it right there. And what that sprouting does is it turns the starch in the barley into sugar. And that's important because sugar is what yeast eats. And yeast eating sugar generates two waste products, waste from the yeast viewpoint. One is carbon dioxide, and the other is alcohol. You get alcohol through fermentation, through the mash working, as the yeast eats the sugar in the grain. And so by sprouting the barley before you grind it and mash it in, you have more sugar, thus a higher yield of alcohol from a given amount of barley. And that's malted barley. It's really a simple thing. I don't need a big fancy video for this. But anytime you hear the term malt or malted barley, that's what it is. You come across a whiskey that's a single malt. And it's not one word. It's not single malt. For one thing, that's talking too fast. You know, just because you talk fast don't make you smart. Sometimes people talk so fast that all that comes out is dumbness. But it's not single malt. It's single space malt. Two separate words. Just like my computer. Not my computer, but my computer. Not single malt, single malt. Anyway, English lesson's over for right now anyway. Who knows what'll happen in 3 seconds. But you come across this term single malt, you come across blended malt, and so knowing what malted barley is can be useful. And you can do this with any grain. They have what they call rye malt whiskey, which is where you use sprouted rye to make the whiskey instead of unsprouted rye. You can sprout your corn, you can sprout your wheat. It would be interesting if more distillers would sprout their grain. It would increase the sugar content of that grain, although some already have a high sugar content, like corn, and increase the yield of the alcohol. I don't know whether it would change the taste. It might. So many different things can affect the taste of what's in the bottle. Maybe that would too. But that's malted barley, and I'm trying to not just abruptly end these videos. And I haven't worked out a one ending for them that I'm going to use all the time. But today, I just want to say, when you open your bottle, pour a glass. I don't have one here, but in Korean, kupsida.